Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Poetic Dimension. This is our show where we talk about poetry and subject matter related to poetry. We also read poetry. And if you're familiar with the show at all, you know our panel of Tom Schiff and Caroline Edscorn. Basically, subject today is odes, which is kind of a fun, challenging form. Like a dedication poem is an ode. You're basically like saying it's tribute. You're making a tribute to whatever you want to, idolize, rationalize, praise. So that's kind of where odes, uh, kind of the realm where odes reside. And I don't know, what do you guys want to do for reading order?
How about I got it from the email. I would say start with Henry Ota Thoreau.
Okay, cool.
Is that
Okay,
all right with you, Caroline?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
No.
okay. So this is an ode to Henry Thoreau. Cabin isolation isn't societal isolation. For the crow, the snowhawk, and the thrush are all members of their own humanity. There are souls with varying ways, yet without weights upon them. For if I could prance like the white-tail, cackle like the fox, or saunter like the sparrow, away from and into the eyes of every high-pedestal human, such a discourse would be pleasant and preferred on many occasions. Distinct as human eyes tend to be, and animals pull you near or further, but intention is distinct. Do we not have the same instincts as them, only converted by lessons, used in different ways? Human comfort is divine, with nature intertwined. I imagine you stuffed up by the world that exists today. Your mind required a pond or a plain, while even these places are rarely sane. It's a crime that you can't usher back in poetry's age. There's too many flooded words and drowned sages these days. The love I wish for you on whatever parallel you reside, the only decent words are all I can provide. Yet I hear of Lydian, of desires powerful and lustful, and I hear you got love's bitter edge. To feel the chill of one so adored, it must have been a vast pain on your soul. I must agree with you, Mr. Thoreau, that love unrequited can still be pure, that something not mutually felt can still be powerful, that love in itself, if ignored, will still reinstill itself. There is no respite from love. If it's in a way, a manner, a likeness, well, good. But if it's in the whole itself, God forbid that love ever cease. Real love was never a singular cause, but the embodiment of holy want, holy desire, a menagerie of plurals multiplying on the heart. Thus, if you love, don't you dare say you love plainly, or you're a mockery of a high ideal, a mockery that's verified through a drinking cup of 1,000 demon-possessed idiots. To you, the student of natural love and natural beauty, it was only fair for you to go unloved. When you know its truth, you realize that it's only the fully seen and fully loving that do.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit about Thoreau. Some interesting stuff I know about Thoreau. Like, he was a prodigy of Ralph Emerson. And obviously, he tried to follow in the footsteps of Emerson for quite some time. He tried kind of molding his life, doing things that Emerson did for a while, because Emerson was gracious enough to let him into his home. And so basically, he spent most of his time with the Emersons, and Emerson did a lot of collegiate lectures. He did a lot of writing. Only his was always seemed to achieve more success than Thoreau's. Albeit Thoreau was a Harvard graduate that decided to choose poetry as a profession, and he wrote some great works. I mean, some really great works. He's best known for his nature poems and his whole ability to capture nature. So, yeah, I'll let you guys comment a little bit.
What I'm sorry to jump in. The poems I wrote were really been in my life, but Emerson and Thoreau changed my life, and not that they changed my life, but I knew they were so spot on in things, and even in the process of uh,
Walden Pond.
the Walden Pond. I mean, and civil disobedience is everything, and self reliance is everything. You know, it comes together, and it's almost biblical in the spirituality behind both those things that I think they miss. And you know, I think there's perfection between the both of them. I mean, Emerson started it, and Thoreau. It'd be like Emerson is the Old Testament and Thoreau is the New Testament. You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
you know, I mean, the poetry is beautiful, but I mean that you wrote, but it's hard. It's hard not to comment on the choice for me. Not that I've read a lot, and you know, I really haven't read a lot, but I mean, Thoreau nailed it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, and then on the poem, um, almost when you talk distant as human eyes tend to be, and that part over there really says there's so much within us that we, you know, being human almost denies it, and that's what I thought of that, and but you wrote it beautifully with prose, so I enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
It was a tough undertaking, a very tough undertaking.
yeah.
I only captured a small window of that frame. Thoreau has written so many great things, and you know.
Yeah, no, everything. I mean, yeah, I mean, he was spot on, I thought. But I think he had it wasn't, I don't think he learned, you know, he learned the process, but you have to break down to really understand it. And I think, you know, being on Walden Pond was part of it, and seeing what was real and what was not.
Hmm.
And so I think Emerson taught him that process, but it has to be self-discovered, I think, and he definitely did.
And he was different than Emerson, is that, like, he would actually like go out in nature and like experience it for a very long time to write about it, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And Emerson wrote, you know, nature poems and human nature poems and things like that. But Thoreau kind of, you know, he had to
feel it.
use his senses for
Yeah,
everything, and being able to write about that, something you know thoroughly, and
yeah,
then the subject matter is usually uplifted. You know, obviously a Harvard mind contemplating on nature tends to capture it. You know,
yeah.
if they really feel the experience.
I guess it's like he's closer to Whitman, I guess, in that respect. Who
Hmm.
lived it. But sorry, Caroline, we smothered you.
Oh no, I'm just listening, honey.
All right.
That's just listening.
All
Okay.
right. You got anything to say, or you want to go on to the next one?
Uh, I what I have to say about the Romanticist period following the great and almighty Enlightenment period, I would probably take up way too much time. So
Hmm.
I think we should just happily move along because part of Thoreau I love, and I'm barely 45 minutes driving from Walden Pond, and
Oh,
he
really?
he spent time in the same town that I live in right now, Jaffrey, up in a house on Mount Monadnock, at the base of Mount Monadnock. And so he's really kind of a pretty big folk hero in my geographical region, as well as being actually
Hmm.
Right.
illuminating. Yeah.
All right. I think you said enough with that statement.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to read like his like whole 500-page biography. I think,
No,
you
you don't
know.
want me to start going there.
No, I'm sure
Yeah.
you got your pluses and minuses, and you don't want to get too deep into it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although I was totally impressed, Eric, that you picked Thoreau because there is so much there, and I think you hit all the salient points, and I really like that. So cool.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
You want to do?
So let's just do them in order that they're in the PDF,
Well,
like Tom suggested.
Sure.
well,
Real quick, Eric, I just wanted to say that that very short two-liner that you have in there, if it's in a way, a manner, a likeness, well, good. But if it's in the whole itself, God forbid that love ever cease. I felt like that was sort of the heart or the essence of your piece.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, love fully and all those things, and deep from your heart. Yeah, I agree. That I mean,
It's like all this imagery was absolutely beautiful, and it was a
yes,
beautiful tribute to Thoreau, but it's like just of the heartbeat of the piece itself. That's how it struck me.
yeah. It's almost we got too tied down into it, and I guess that could be the problem with this assignment, that you almost lose you lose the poetry because you just think of the poet that you're
Right.
really owed to, which is hard.
Right.
But the
Lose
poem
the
in
essence.
itself was great. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So there you go, Eric.
Okay, so let's see. It's Carol Ann's turn now.
Yeah, but I'm going to slide down 4 pages because the psalm was not an ode. That was to.
So you want to go to your next one, Caroline?
I'm going to do surviving despite.
Okay.
I think it's 4 pages down, or at least 4
Got
poems
it.
down, because this is where I try to do elements of the ode, a homage to E. E. Cummings, and although picking a poet was really, really hard for me, and the idea of meter and rhymed couplets, rhymed endings. So I tried to do a technique with this that fit the bill, and yes, they're short lines in one long stanza, but it was the idea of being an homage to E. E. Cummings and trying to work the concept of rhyme into it. So, oh dear, I just lost it. Come back, you foolish thing. Oh, there we go. So, surviving despite. So many years, long ago, so long ago, so many tears, songs of woe and tales of woe, so many fears, hiding alone, trembling alone, grinding gears and crushing hope, yet not quite annihilating hope. One cheer, louder and prouder, and a cloud and a crowd of cheer, vibrant, militant, prescient, then a throng of cheer, not long ago. Now revive, survive, alive and thrive, and so long ago, so many years ago, many cheers, banish fears. Ta-da!
That was wonderful use of rhythm. Wonderful use of rhythm. I just love the way that flows. It's like, it's deep, but it flows so well. It just, I mean, she usually flows well, but in this one, I think giving her the task of iambic pentameter
Yes.
probably made
Yeah.
you like rhyme better than you usually do.
Yeah, it was trying to flow in an E. E. Cummings way and yet maintain a formality of meter and rhyme, which most poets don't do anymore anyway, but
Yeah, they just run back to free verse when it doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
right. Yeah. And so this is on the slide side of free verse, but I also really wanted to work the rhyme and push what was going on
hmm
with my love of E. E. Cummings.
hmm It is a lot like E. Cummings' work. I mean, a lot. Don't you agree, Tom?
I have no idea who E. Cummings is. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
I'm illiterate. Well, I'm definitely illiterate. I've only listened to. I can't read, so I sort of listen to stuff. And
oh.
I,
E. Never mind. What?
but who is E. Cummings?
50s and 60s, and he was probably the first poet to do away with uh, punctuation, with formalized grammar.
Right.
Like his name is never it's all lowercase. He writes in all lowercase. A stanza can be 1 line or 20 lines, and sometimes he even dropped it in like he would stagger it.
Right.
Like there'd be stanza over on this part of the page and then over on this part of the page. So he mixed up and he threw out all the rules, making a rule that rules are thrown out. That was his rule.
Is he like pre-beat poets or?
About that same time. About that same time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I think the copy I have was published in 56 or 57.
Right.
Mhm.
I picked up at a yard sale.
So what about? I mean, I like the meaning of the poem. You know, so it's almost easier since I know no E. E. Cummings that that I do like the poem, and it sort of relates to the one I wrote, but how
yeah, I thought it was
Oh, Kathleen's putting some E. Cummings on her profile.
Website.
See, look
one-
at that.
that was
It's one of my favorite poems, and Tom, in E. Cummings' relation to movies, I think he became popular again after the movie In Her Shoes, if you're familiar with that.
I didn't see that.
Oh, okay. So if you don't mind, I'd like to read this, if that'd be okay, Eric?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because a lot of people are familiar with this now, mostly because of that movie. And I carry your heart with me. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I'm never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful, you are my world, my true. And it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here's the deepest secret that nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. And a lot of his poetry has this type of sort of esoteric feel, wouldn't you say, Carol Ann?
Yes. Although my husband just passed me a quick quote from E. E. Cummings, which
Good.
will totally demolish everything I honor about the man. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.
I
Maybe
thought
it might have a romanticist or spiritual aspect to it.
It
Yeah.
certainly does.
you got a support team, Carol Ann? We're here naked by ourselves.
Okay, I'm going to refrain from giving that the dignity of a reply.
That was beautiful. I like that. That is a good one to carry around, Kath.
Which Which one?
No, the poem. Oh, please stick with the poem. Don't please stick with the longer poem.
Yeah.
But in yours, Carol Ann, I think all poems tell about consciousness of the person who writes it.
Mm.
So the thing that gets me is survive a life thrive so long ago, so many years ago. Many cheers, banished fears. It's like you were validated long ago and you felt it and you were right, and then this says that not so much. Is that too?
No, you're right the first time. It's although it's cyclical, you get shot down and then like the other day I worked with somebody who just loves being sarcastic and negative, and that's what he's all about.
Yeah.
And walked up to another manager who's more or less a friend. The word friend is overused and overrated. But she's a good acquaintance, and I just did a system dump. And then I looked at her and I smiled, and she smiled, and I said, "Thanks for listening, and thanks for helping me smile." And that was her cheer. She smiled, and then all the yucky stuff was able to go away. And so, like, one cheer, one really positive, sometimes humorous thing can just totally shift the whole world.
But it's so amazing because you build yourself. And I go through this all the time. I mean, I build up, and being on the spectrum, I'm literal, and sarcasm's tough. So you can't let things like that. You gotta rid yourself of you got to understand the negative, because sarcasm is insecurity on their part.
Mhm.
But I don't
Yeah,
get that down.
but
So
in the moment, it feels like an attack.
yeah,
So you put your defenses up,
yeah,
and that does two things. It keeps more crap out, but it also keeps what crap sneaked in it behind that wall as well. So it's
yeah.
you
It's
know
hard.
the thing is that the walls are getting shorter and thinner, and
Yeah,
the flow of good stuff is getting more prosperous, and that's the
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure there are a lot of cheers, but 99 cheers can be ruined by one jeer. And
Yeah,
that,
and
and,
that's
and
what's wrong about life on planet Earth.
that's what.
That's what's wrong about life on planet Earth.
Yeah, but it's it's our ability to let one jeer destroy 99 cheers.
Right, that's what I'm
And
saying. That's out of balance.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely out of balance. But that balance, you have to. I try to be in control of that balance and let that stuff slide. It's like, all right, gotta go.
I don't give the jeer any importance, and then I just kind of learned how to move on from anything negative. Just don't give it any more credence than it deserves.
And usually the jeer is as like a sarcasm is insecurity. So if you get to
I
the
get
root,
that.
yeah. So but if you get to that, then it's like, all
This
right,
is only partly biographical or even autobiographical. It's as much an observation on what I see going around me in everybody's life. It's
yeah,
not
no, I
just
agree. I apologize though.
yeah.
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 So all right, we skipping
Your turn,
around again.
Tom. Your turn, Tom. It's your turn. I
Pick your
believe.
poem.
All right. Well, I read this before. I wrote this before I did the assignment, and I wrote it because I didn't know we had an assignment. But anyway, I'll read it.
Am I on the right one, Tom?
Yeah, I'm on fakes and frauds.
Okay.
Every single person created from the all, are all fakes and frauds. We all know deep inside of us, no matter what we do or say, we know the day will come when we will be exposed to the world. Every time we accomplish something, we know that it is by chance and failure is our fate. Every time we say or write something perceived as brilliant, we know that we are closer to being shamed. No praise is truly accepted because we know shame and embarrassment are soon to follow. Our comfort and faith comes only when all seems lost and we are swimming on the bottom. The smallest light of what we could be buoys us in the darkness and comforts us. The more we rise and near the light, the more certain we become that we have no right to be closer to it. We say don't, we deny it with more strength than we know we have. That we undermine our own ascendancy because we know that we are fakes and frauds. The struggle for greatness and light is not undermined by anyone but ourselves. We are all the same through the past and will be through the future. Believing that we were created in the image is false and a lie. Believing that even if we are, that everyone in the world undermines us. Understanding much too late that the only thing that ever got in the way of this is that we believed we were really fakes and frauds, but we're truly not. So it's basically like Carol Ann's. I it's I can't read it as poetry. It's almost as anger within myself why I let it happen, and anger within other people why they let it happen. So I try to read it boldly, and I don't know if it's poetry, but it's the truth as I see it within myself and others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt for a second that that's poetry. It's insight is a great part of poetry, and this has a lot of insight to human frailty, human insecurity. A lot of understanding about kind of what people's identity, like their identity when it kind of tends to suffer. It's addressed in this poem when you can't believe in yourself because a person can't believe in themselves fully because they're letting their whatever they're letting themselves get in the way of feeling blessed. That's what it speaks to me, is like you're letting your insecurities get in the way of feeling blessed or fortunate or happy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you have to feel the pain so deeply, and that's almost like well, the next poem and that song. It's, you know, he felt alone and the pain, and that's why he could. Everybody, you know, you could identify. We're all the same. That, I mean, we're all the same on every level in this community, outside the community.
Mhm.
We're truly all the same with the same fears, and it's just how we handle them and move through life. But we all, you know, we all, yeah.
Then, but why do people provide such a separation from each other then if we're all the same? Why is there always such a like ring of disapproval and what is someone going to think of me? Why is
That's Carol Ann's poem. It's because we accept it, because we take that one jeer and from somebody who is insecure about themselves, and we let it destroy us, and then they cause a separation, and we shut down because we don't want to deal with it. You know, it's pain. No one. It's that biting thing, and that one jeer hits us so deeply that we feel that shame, and we, in my poem, you know, they definitely come together to explain each other, I think.
I think that anything that has a strong emotion has gravity or a pull towards it. And if we don't have a very strong center, we don't have a strong gravitational pull towards something that we've done a lot of soul work towards, whether
Yeah.
that's positive or negative or God or
It,
whatever it is for us.
on any level, no matter who you are in this world, you will doubt yourself at one point, no matter how right you are. You know, I see that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah? Well, you know, some people believe that, like scientists, it's a poet's job to question everything. You know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well,
Caroline.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I just cried actually about halfway through your poem, and I'm going like, no, he can't end here. He can't end with, we're fakes and frauds, and then you get to the last bit and it says, but it's we ourselves who have undermined it because we're truly not
Right.
fakes or frauds. And it's funny because I was just having this text conversation with my eldest son, who Luke, who is named for Luke Skywalker. Yes, I am unashamedly, although somewhat embarrassedly, um, a Star Wars nerd, and he's at the point where he has enough money in his job to be buying a lot of Star Wars trinkets before the movie comes out. And so I told him he was wearing his Star Wars costume, and he goes like, "No, when I get my Jedi cloak, then it'll be a costume. This is just a T-shirt and jeans with a logo on it." And then, all the world's a stage, and all its men and women merely players. And I said, but I raised you to understand that most people, they'll wear their Patriots or their New York Mets or their, Miami Dolphins shirts and their Armani suits or their blue jeans and T-shirts, and all of those in are indicate how much of a fraud we are to ourselves.
Right.
What we wear. I think that's why people fall in love with like Abby Shudo on NCIS or Penelope Garcia on Criminal Minds and other quirky characters on television and film, because they dare to be so radically different.
Right.
Um, and even though they're successful in that one thing, they're still pretty insecure on a regular basis. That's a whole part of plot and character kind of stuff. So what is it? This great, 8, 10, 15,000 years of written human history that we still haven't gotten it with social media that spans the globe, and we still haven't got that we are worthy of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it pretty comes down to. Why is it in the human seed of consciousness and in the DNA maybe even, that we don't think we're worthy of love, and that we don't think other people are worthy of love. So that's the big question here.
Yeah.
So I'm so
No,
glad you
totally.
ended it the way you did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I had to resolve it. I couldn't be like you're screwed.
yeah. When you get the first copy, it was like you're screwed. So
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man.
yeah. It's like this guy's he's about ready to off himself.
Yeah, really.
But Carolina, Star Wars is significant.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's really the
It's
the
a
epic journey.
phenomena.
It's really the epic journey that we all go through,
It is.
and
I totally concur.
yeah,
Totally with
and
you. Right there. See?
I mean, there are too many goofy, hairy characters in it, but the essence of it is pure, and
It is.
it's an amazing thing.
It is, in that there are 2-year-olds who perk up when they hear the anthem, the throne room
Yeah,
anthem, and I mean, I was, I don't know, what was I, 22 years old when it came out, and I sat in the middle of a cinema because I went to a weekday matinee, and there was hardly anybody there. It was before it was a phenomenon. It was the first
yeah,
film, and it was just beginning. And I sat there in the middle of the theater pretty much by myself, just all lightsabers and the light and the dark and the force
yeah,
and in the whole storyness of it, and it was just absolutely glorious
yeah.
to me. And but
But
I'm
there's
surrounded by some people who just like pickup trucks and beer.
yeah.
So,
I, but
Okay.
but the epic thing is that everybody, even Darth Vader, can be redeemed, and
Yeah.
that's an amazing thing. And any pure person can turn to the dark side.
Han Solo redeemed himself. Lando redeemed himself.
Yeah,
And, let's say pretty much every character that was really important either
yeah,
got killed or redeemed themselves. There was a lot of good character development. I
yeah.
think that was the best thing about it was just
But
you.
the worst of the worst redeemed himself.
except for Jar Jar Binks, I'm still not sure about
Yeah,
Jar Jar Binks.
You said Star Wars, not the prequels.
yeah. All right.
Then again, if you like that, I'm not. If you actually like the prequels, I'm not going to go there
All right.
because I saw that she was like, you don't like the. Never
Well,
mind.
you got it. You should know where it starts. I think that's always good.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do Sufi haiku, Sam?
No, I think it's Eric's turn
Oh,
next.
all right.
It's my turn if we're going in order. Okay, I'll go in order. There was so much protest that I had to. It's called To Victory, and it's a quick one. It's a real quick one. So it's to victory in all its forms. Have you ever been a Garland winner, throwing your coat to Mercury and your caution to the wind? Have you ever looked in an empty vessel and seen something vast and deep within? Ideas begin. Have you ever rung the bell on Poseidon's watch and yelled, "Be vigilant"? Have you ever faced the dawning challenge of a room with 1,000 eyes, of a soul with 1,000 cries? Have you ever taken worn-out legs, threw them over your shoulder, and won the day? Have you conquered a routine task that seems like it would always taunt you in your path? You, my friend, are the victor. May you keep being victorious, and may the heavens smile upon you.
Yay!
Yeah, that was kind of a brief one compared to the Ode to Thoreau. It was kind of a quick one when I wrote it. It really took me like 1 minute. So,
Wow.
what?
1 minute to write that?
Yeah, it was just easy.
So,
Well,
have you ever been the victor?
Have I ever been the victor? Ever? Yes, I've been the victor.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Then you can write it. I mean, of course you have.
Yeah.
No, it is a great feeling.
Yeah. I decided to put that last second to the last verse, comparing like what people view as like high tier victories with, like just overcoming, a fear or something, because to me they're on the same level, because a person can't let fear rule them, and if you the more daily obstacles a person conquers, obviously the better off they are in life. So I put them on the same level, even though most people probably don't view them on the same level. But I kind of, for certain people, it might be on the same level. So it was.
I'm sorry. I think that you get the same feeling. If you do something fulfilling or creative in the minimum or minimal, and you make $5, it's a victory, and you feel great, and no matter the magnitude of it, you still feel great, and it's not a difference. So little victories feel great, and big victories sometimes feel the same.
Yeah. Exaggerated victories, like in this one. The humor part in it was like the throwing your legs over your shoulder.
I tried to get the visual on that.
Just I watched too many Vietnam movies, and I watched them misinterpreting them, I guess, thinking that instead of carrying someone over their shoulder, they carried their own legs and then someone over their shoulder. My legs are on the ground. Okay, legs, you come with me.
Too many Vietnam movies.
So, are we just reading the next one, or more comments, or what? What's the deal?
Carol Ann?
Well, I'm going with the Greek here, and Poseidon and Mercury, and I'm reading Rick Riordan's books about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and I'm like on about the 7th book, and he's got it in a series of, not trinities, trilogies. Trilogies. And so here I am, I'm coming and seeing Mercury and Poseidon, and I'm thinking, well, are we looking at Greek and Roman Olympiads or great cosmic wars throughout time? And then you come down to that last little bit that talks about doing something little. And my friends and I, and anybody who actually lives with chronic pain of any sort probably understands this, that if you get out of bed in the morning and you're dressed, that's a victorious day. And it feels good and strong to be victorious just getting out of bed. And so anything after that is excitingly more victorious. Wow, I had breakfast. Yes, it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I had breakfast, and I dusted the living room. And they're all little tiny things, but, I think maybe this feeds back to the fears and the jeers and the fraud stuff, because we make heroes out of celebrities and football quarterbacks and singers that, like, yay, Kanye West, go away. But, Madonna and stuff, and they're not heroes. I'm sorry. They're not heroes unless they get real and tell me what their pain is and what their gain is on their daily lives. And to me, the fact that the human race still exists is heroic. You look around, and we really should have been blown up a long time ago. We haven't. We're all still here, and that's heroic.
I got to make a comment about. Listen, I don't like their music, and I don't like what follows them. But actually, I'm sure they didn't just wake up one day and become who they were. They probably fought an epic battle within both themselves to get there. And what they've done with it may be a different story, but there was victory to get there, I believe, and they probably overcame a lot.
Yeah. Some of them. Some people are born entitled.
Yeah, some people were born on third base, and they thought they hit a triple. But but I believe Madonna and Kanye came from nothing, as a lot of rappers, and they've ignited. Not that Madonna's a rapper, but they've ignited some stuff. And what they've done with it, that's a different story, and who follows them and for what reason is a different story. But I wouldn't.
See, that's not the point, Tom. The point is, defining heroic.
Yeah. Well,
And
the move to get there
let me-
might be heroic, but
it might be.
the people who follow them, or what they do, and the people who follow them, it sort of degrades it. But the move to even being famous for whatever reason was a heroic move to get to that point. I would say most people, except like Kim Kardashian. but but I'm sorry, Carolyn.
No, I just think there's heroism in little things.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
Mm.
No, definitely. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
So next poem.
I'm so aggressive. I apologize.
No, you were passionate. That was not aggressive. That
Yeah,
was
but
passionate. Think differently, please.
I know, but the
I didn't.
passion.
I didn't feel it aggressive, Tom.
I know, but it borderlines on shutting down another human being, and that's a bad habit. And I apologize.
If
But
it
if
feels better, apology accepted. But there was no.
Are we all good? We all good?
I think we're good, sweetheart.
I'm good if you.
Okay.
Okay, hon. So who, Tom, do you want to read next, or do you want me to do
I want to hear Sufi haiku psalm.
Good.
Sufi.
Yeah, a little bit of everything there. Well, this is still on the celebrating one's favorite poet, and I really love Rumi and Hafiz and the Sufi mystical poets. Very similar, though, however, to Rod McCuen and other beat poems that were on the positive side of love. You may say I'm a dreamer kind of thing. And I love the Psalms. Oftentimes I find in the Psalms, um, aspects of arrogance, aspects of heroism, aspects of fear, and yet redemption. And so in those, 130 or so Psalms, because my brain is shut down, so numbers are gone right now. I don't know how many there are actually, 130, 50, 150 or so Psalms, depending on your translation. Um, I find the whole breadth of humanity's emotions expressed.
Mhm.
So this is a combination of Song of Solomon, which is embarrassing to many Christians to read about.
Mhm.
Um, the breast of my beloved. The
Mhm.
etheric love of Sufis, and it's in a haiku pattern, which is three lines. The first line has five syllables, then seven, and then five. So
Mhm.
I made each stanza a haiku. They could actually stand alone. But here we go. So I'm going to move over here so I can. There we go. Um, my beloved soars, sunlit, radiant, dancing, soul warmth surrounding. My beloved sings, star song illuminating, hands held together. Heroic, my love, toiling for my heart and soul, grace abides with us. Keep close by, my love, breathe peace, joy, and forgiveness, dancing, singing light. Immense sacrifice, roses soft, scented lightly, a forever embrace. Ta-da!
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that one. It's got a good natural quality. Natural quality being uh, taking that praise of a lover, I guess, and
Mhm.
really expanding on that in a wonderful way.
Well, I did spend, you talked about ode as a form, and haikus are both really easy to write in terms of form, but you're supposed to be capturing, what do they call it, a slice
Nature.
of life, slice of life, yeah, in the natural world. So what's more natural than love between God and God and his child?
Yeah. I mean, I read it as God's love, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, precise, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
dancing, all of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's God's love.
Yeah.
And yet, it can be read for somebody who's not there on the path yet as a
Yes.
love poem, a love song.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Trying to get that
I,
balance.
I think a lot of love poetry is about God, and if you look at it one way, it's about the opposite sex. If you look at it another way, but to me, this is all God, or it could be the other way. But,
Nope, you're right.
Mhm.
You caught it. You got it. That means I was successful. Yay.
Mhm.
yay!
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
more.
Yes, I think we have another poem.
Yeah, I'll get it over with.
Yay.
um, So once I got the theme, then I figured I'd write this. But I could have written about that. I mean, I think that as I said, the way it moves from one side to the other, when I figured it out. I mean, so these things have been with my whole life. I remember listening to Rolling Stone when I was 7 years old, and I had no idea what it was, but for some reason it was significant. And
Mhm.
really, and I pay tribute to Neil Young in there also, if you know
Yes,
Neil
you do.
Young songs. But anyway,
Mhm.
I'll read it. Aware of nothing, just words and music, never considered, only enjoyed as vibration, repeating mindlessly, matching all tones, pure feeling of warmth as voice mimics what was heard. How does it feel? Great when I sang them. Not understanding the depth for so long. How did it feel? I used to be so amused. Then the dream came. I could breathe. I went insane. Now I can't go back, not ever, because it's not a dream, it's real. I don't care if my direction is unknown. I don't care if I'm on my own. I don't even care if I'm completely unknown. All I want to do for the rest of my life is live as a Rolling Stone. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, the song has just means so much to, talking about the only way you could really truly have that universal thing is if you really feel that and then you see it in others. So I think he could only write that song because he knew what it was to be so alone, and everything that he believed in was broken down, school and church and temple or whatever, all not real, and feeling just there was nothing, there's nothing left to lose, and that's where he found himself. And it's said that it's written about another woman and an indictment, but he can never write that indictment, or not the indictment, but really, tell her, it wasn't a positive thing he told her, but it really was where he came from, and came from the ashes to be who he was, to understand that. So that's why I think it's a universal song, and the poetry meant something. So, and I can go on. And when the dream came, Neil Young, I held myself with my eyes closed, and I went insane like a smoke ring when the wind blows. And so it's the same thing. It's like it's the same breakthrough in the middle of that brings it together, and it's that aha moment. But it's I think what both of these people went through. So that's it. Comment.
Mhm.
You were
Well,
only 7 when you heard the Rolling Stones sing this?
No, it was Bob Dylan. It was like a Rolling
Bob Dylan.
Stone.
Right, like
yeah,
a Rolling.
Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Right, got it. But
I was in
still.
an I was in an infirmary, and I was sick, and I had like 105 temperature, and the radio was playing, and I heard it, and it was like, it was really it just, and the song always stayed with me. And listen, I can't listen to Maggie May anymore. I can't listen to a lot of songs, but every time this one's on, I could hear it and play it. And it's one
Yeah.
of the few songs I can play on a guitar. So
Well, like anything Bob Dylan, it comes with a lot of kind of sad content, a little bit of sad content,
mm,
and brilliant work, all of Bob Dylan's. But you get a part where he's lingering in something unhealthy, he's lingering in some madness,
yeah,
he's at odds with the world. There's always that part in Bob Dylan's songs, and
oh
like a
yeah,
Rolling, like a Rolling Stone is kind of like a mindset, really, you know, a mindset or life choice, and he's kind of acceptant of that in the song, as you are in the poem.
Mm. One of my favorites is Positively Fourth Street when he just ranks on somebody and says, "I wish one day you could stand inside my shoes so you could see what a drag is when I see you." You
Hmm.
know, he could be really biting, but very insightful.
Hmm.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff. But he was the first poet I ever loved, and I didn't know he was a poet. So that's you
Hmm.
know, the words meant nothing for so long.
Yeah. Hmm.
So Carol Ann is
Well,
New
it
Hampshire.
was hard. It was hard for me to not hear bits and pieces of the melody
Yeah,
as I went through. So you captured the melody, the melodic part of that in your poem, which is so cool. Not just because I know the song, but I think anybody would. How does it feel, to be a Rolling Stone?
yeah,
Um, but to go back to its origins, a Rolling Stone um,
got it.
captures no moss or
Yeah,
something, and so you don't want to be hidden. You don't want to be, and that to me is what all the early '60s stuff from Peter, Paul, and Mary, and Joan Baez, and um, Janice Ian.
right.
There was so much anger, but it was an anger that was aimed at release and knocking down pretend walls of trying
Right.
to be real. And yeah, rolling
There's anger in what they were sold.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I think we're going to come up on a generation soon.
I, you
Um,
know, I, I really believe that. I think that all children of the age of Aquarius, they
yeah,
denied it and they fell back into the delusion. But I think it's not working, and I think there's a shift. I think something's happening.
something shifting, something shifting. I know a lot of young people, and there's, people say, I tease my son. I says, well, at least being called a millennial is nicer than being a baby boomer. I mean, or Gen X. Like, what are those names all
Yeah,
about?
right.
Baby boomer, you know,
Hey, hey,
sounds
hey,
like blowing up babies or something. But and at least being called a millennial
yeah,
has some forthright imagery coming toward it.
it's very Star Warsian.
Yeah, there's something coming.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's something coming out of it,
Right.
and they're saying things that I said in the '60s. Our parents have misled us, and
Yeah.
the world has misled us, and we need to do something to change the environment, to change the economy, to change the politics. I'm starting to hear phrases that I spoke in the
Right.
'60s, and it's kind of a little freaky to have lived long enough to have a repeat of a cultural phenomenon building. But I think this year's political presidency stuff is uh, Bernie Sanders, who's 70 years old, is feel the burn. A lot of young people, a lot of 20 to 25, 30-year-old people are totally tuning into this socialist who has really great ideas and has been consistent with his ideas for 40 years. Um, and
So,
so
so
they're
is Donald
waking
Trump.
up. Yeah,
Donald
well,
Trump's been
Donald
consistent
Trump
Uh,
for 40 years.
is waking a lot of people up too. And do I agree with either one of them? No,
No.
but it's certainly been the most interesting presidential election since 1972,
Yeah.
uh, for me anyway. And
What was it?
so the whole idea here of I think what we're seeing is how the geodes, you know what a geode is? It's those rocks that are all
Yeah.
dirty and grungy on the outside, and you break them open, and there's all crystals, like a
Yep.
crystal cave on the inside. And I
hmm.
and I feel like that's the kind of momentum that we're coming up on. Is they don't want to just be pebbles in a pond.
No, it's definitely building.
It's
Hmm.
definitely building. So I think you're very insightful right here.
Yeah. Well,
If
just
more
just
people could understand that life is movement, not running on a treadmill, not running in place, but movement towards something,
I say that all creation comes in silence, but everything comes in silence, but nothing comes without action, and
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can I say one thing, Kathleen?
Yes.
We're talking about beat poets.
Hmm.
Do you think the group's ready for my Ginsberg poem, my Ginsberg-esque poem?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I listened to Ginsberg once, and I wrote the most disgusting, violent, sexual poem. So I don't know if the group's ready for that.
Hmm.
Maybe next time.
Next time.
You might run that by them before you're on air.
Before we go public with it.
Yeah, that'd be funny just to have one episode where Tom's video had like a big mature rated sign on it.
I'm gonna have Kathleen read it.
Oh, dream on, Tom. It doesn't feel right. It's not coming out. I have a hard enough time articulating what I'm really passionate about.
You don't feel that one?
Not so much.
All right. Anyway, I'll send it to you guys privately.
There you go.
Is it an ode to Ginsberg or is it like a bash of Ginsberg?
No, it's just how could I use every word in a way that it says something. It definitely says something, but
Sure.
it's it's raw. Let's say that.
Aha.
Anyway, let's wrap it up.
All right.
Okay. So, do I wrap it up, or are you going to wrap it up,
you.
Kathleen?
You, Eric, you go right ahead.
I'm so terrible at wrapping things up.
You're getting better all
Okay.
the time.
Getting better when I have to. So, yeah. Thanks everyone for showing up. We hope you guys had a great time. I appreciate the poetry here. Have to say, the odes were out today. The odes won the day. There were some beautiful odes. And even the things that were a combination of things in odes were still awesome. And we hope you found a spiritual fulfillment as well as mental fulfillment with this show today. And thank you all for showing up. Especially, again, thank you guys on my panel. Beautiful work. And we'll see you next time.
All right.
Yay.
Peace. Bye.
Peace out.
Mm-hmm.